Hello, and welcome to our book summary series. I'm Richard, and today we're exploring one of the most influential personal finance books of all time, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Published in 1997, this book has sold over 40 million copies worldwide and has been translated into dozens of languages. What makes it so compelling is its unique narrative approach. Kiyosaki tells the story of growing up with two father figures. His biological father, the poor dad, a highly educated but financially struggling professor, and his best friend's father, the rich dad, who became a successful entrepreneur despite having less formal education. Through contrasting their mindsets and approaches to money, Kiyosaki challenges conventional wisdom about wealth and introduces concepts that have changed how millions think about personal finance. The book isn't just about making money, it's about challenging your assumptions about work, money, and financial education. Whether you're just starting your career, feeling trapped in the rat race, or looking to build generational wealth, this summary will distill the key principles that have made Rich Dad Poor Dad a financial literacy classic for over 2 decades. Number 1. The rich don't work for money. One of Kiyosaki's most provocative claims is that the rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. This fundamental difference in mindsets separates those who achieve financial independence from those who remain financially dependent. Poor Dad followed the conventional path. Study hard, get good grades, find a secure job with benefits, and save money. He valued stability, but remained vulnerable to economic changes beyond his control. Rich Dad, by contrast, focused on acquiring assets that generate ongoing income without requiring his constant labor. He understood that a paycheck creates dependency, while ownership creates freedom. Kiyosaki illustrates this principle through his childhood experience working in Rich Dad's store for free. When he complained about not being paid, Rich Dad explained he was receiving something more valuable than money, an education in how money works. The takeaway: focus on building and acquiring income-producing assets rather than simply working for a higher salary. Number 2. Kiyosaki argues that conventional education teaches people how to work in the system, but fails to teach financial literacy, how money works, and how to make it work for you. He introduces a simple but powerful accounting concept. Assets put money in your pocket, while liabilities take money out of your pocket. Using this definition, he challenges readers to rethink what they consider assets. Your house is not an asset, Kiyosaki controversially claims. While it might appreciate in value, it continuously costs money in mortgage payments, taxes, and maintenance rather than generating income. By contrast, a rental property that produces positive cash flow after expenses is a true asset. Rich Dad taught Kiyosaki to focus on acquiring assets and minimizing liabilities, a principle he claims is rarely taught in schools or by parents who aren't financially literate themselves. The takeaway: learn to read financial statements, understand cash flow, and distinguish between true assets and liabilities. Number 3. Mind your own business. It's Kiyosaki's call to build your own financial assets outside your day job. He observes that many people spend their lives building someone else's business while neglecting their own financial foundation. Kiyosaki suggests that even while working for others, you should be developing your own asset column: investments, real estate, intellectual property, or businesses that can eventually provide sufficient income to replace your salary. He shares how he continued working while systematically acquiring rental properties and other investments until their combined income exceeded his expenses, making paid work optional rather than necessary. The takeaway: start building assets outside your employment that can eventually provide financial independence. Number 4. Taxes favor entrepreneurs and investors. The book explains how tax systems in most countries unintentionally favor business owners and investors over employees. Employees typically pay taxes on income before paying expenses, while business owners pay taxes after deducting expenses. Poor Dad believed in working hard and paying taxes, while Rich Dad structured his finances to minimize tax burden legally. Kiyosaki suggests that understanding tax advantages is one of the key reasons the rich get richer. He illustrates this through the example of a home office where a business owner might deduct expenses for a portion of their housing costs, while an employee pays for housing with after-tax dollars. The takeaway: learning how taxes work and the legal strategies to minimize them can significantly impact wealth accumulation. Number 5. The Rich Create Money. Kiyosaki challenges the belief that money is a finite resource that must be earned. He suggests that financially intelligent people understand how to create money through recognizing opportunities others miss. He illustrates this concept through his early real estate deals, where he used creative financing and identified undervalued properties. In one example, he purchased a house significantly below market value because he understood the seller's problems and could offer a solution other buyers couldn't. Most people never get wealthy because they're trained to think they must earn money, Kiyosaki writes. By contrast, the financially intelligent look for ways to create value through identifying and solving problems. The takeaway: wealth often comes not from how hard you work, but from your financial intelligence and ability to recognize opportunities. Number 6. Kiyosaki challenges the conventional career advice to specialize deeply in one area. Instead, he advocates acquiring a broad range of business skills: sales, marketing, communication, negotiation, accounting, investing, leadership, and more. He shares how he joined the Marines and worked at Xerox not primarily for the pay, but to develop courage, sales skills, and overcome his fear of rejection. These experiences prepared him for success as an entrepreneur and investor. Poor Dad encouraged specialization for job security, while Rich Dad encouraged developing multiple skills to succeed in business and investing. Kiyosaki argues that the highest paid specialist, like a doctor or lawyer, still faces income limitations that business owners can transcend. The takeaway: select jobs and experiences based on what you will learn, not just what you will earn. Robert's first real estate deal, learning by doing. In 1973, a young Robert Kiyosaki was attending a real estate investment seminar in Honolulu. While most attendees were busily taking notes and asking theoretical questions, Rich Dad had taught Robert a different approach. Don't just listen and learn, do something with what you learn immediately. Following this advice, during a seminar break, Robert scanned the newspaper for property listings. He spotted a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house listed for $18,000 in a decent neighborhood where homes typically sold for $26,000. The listing mentioned "anxious seller," a phrase Rich Dad had taught him to look for as a signal of opportunity. While other seminar attendees went back to taking notes, I called the number in the ad, Robert recalls in the book. The woman who answered explained they needed to sell quickly because her husband had been transferred to another state. They had already purchased a new home and were carrying 2 mortgages. Robert immediately drove to see the property. It was in good condition, confirming his sense this was an opportunity. He offered $15,000, well below asking price. The owners initially rejected this, but Robert explained he could close quickly with a cashier's check, solving their immediate problem of double mortgage payments. "I didn't have $15,000, Robert admits. "But Rich Dad taught me you don't need money to make money. You need knowledge and courage." Robert negotiated a 90-day escrow period, then immediately listed the property for $26,000. The house sold in less than a week for the full asking price. At closing, the $5,000 deposit from the buyer was transferred to Robert's purchase of the original property. His total profit, $7,000, equivalent to his entire annual salary at the time, for a few hours of work. "That first deal taught me invaluable lessons," Robert explains. "I learned to identify motivated sellers, to focus on solving their problems rather than my own needs, and to create value by connecting opportunity with capital." The experience validated Rich Dad's most important lesson. Financial education isn't just theoretical. It requires practical application and the courage to act when opportunities appear. The business behind the business. Do you know what business McDonald's is really in? Rich Dad once asked Robert during a drive past a McDonald's restaurant. Young Robert confidently answered, "The hamburger business." That's what everyone thinks, Rich Dad replied with a knowing smile. But that's not how Ray Kroc thinks. McDonald's is not in the hamburger business, it's in the real estate business. This case study, highlighted throughout the book, reveals how Ray Kroc built McDonald's into a global empire through a revolutionary understanding of business fundamentals. While the company sells food, its primary profit center and true competitive advantage comes from owning the valuable real estate beneath its restaurants. Kroc wants the best intersections and corners for his franchises, Rich Dad explained to Robert. The franchise fee is relatively small compared to the markup on the real estate he leases to the franchisee. The McDonald's franchisee pays for the right to operate the business and then pays ongoing rent for the location, ensuring McDonald's Corporation has multiple revenue streams. Even if a particular franchise struggles with food sales, the corporation continues collecting real estate income. This strategy has made McDonald's one of the largest real estate owners in the world, with property holdings worth billions. The business effectively collects income from its operators, while those operators absorb most of the risk and labor of the food service business. Kroc knows the franchisees will work hard because they're invested, but he collects money regardless of their success, Rich Dad noted. That's how the truly wealthy think. They identify the real business within the business. For Robert, this insight transformed his understanding of business strategy. I stopped thinking like an employee concerned only with my paycheck and started thinking like an owner, looking for the underlying assets and cash flows that create true wealth. The McDonald's example epitomizes the Rich Dad philosophy of identifying assets that generate passive income, creating business systems that don't require your constant labor, and understanding the true sources of value in any enterprise. Rich Dad, Poor Dad challenges conventional wisdom about money that many of us absorbed growing up. Rather than promoting get-rich-quick schemes, it advocates for financial education and a fundamental shift in how we think about money, work, and wealth. Kiyosaki's core message is that financial independence comes not from earning a high salary, but from understanding how money works and building assets that generate passive income. By contrasting the mindsets of his two father figures, he illustrates how our beliefs about money often determine our financial outcomes more than our intelligence or education. Critics of the book point out that some of Kiyosaki's advice may oversimplify complex financial concepts or encourage risk-taking that isn't appropriate for everyone. Others note that some of his personal anecdotes have been questioned for accuracy. However, even critics acknowledge the book's powerful impact in motivating millions to take control of their financial education. Whether you agree with all of Kiyosaki's approaches or not, the fundamental questions he poses remain valuable. Are you working for money, or is your money working for you? Are you building assets or accumulating liabilities? Are you thinking like an employee or like an owner and investor? If you found this summary valuable and want to explore these ideas in greater depth, you can purchase Rich Dad, Poor Dad by clicking the link in the pinned comment below. The full book contains many more insights and case studies we couldn't cover in this brief summary. That concludes our summary of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you found this helpful, please subscribe for more book summaries that distill powerful ideas from influential business books. Thank you for watching.